Some presents and your card. Stay, wait. Stay. Let's see which one you go for first. Stay. No, stay. Stay.
That's what we say. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Right, done for the day. Been one of those days, busy one. We're doing a bunch of transfers over to a third party company that's taking over some of the IT, so it's been one of those days. Right, head home. I don't know what I'm going to get up to tonight, if anything. If I do, I'll film it. If not, I won't. I'm watching. Whee! Hi guys, welcome. Decided to put this together to help out anyone wanting to get started on YouTube. I've just recently got started on YouTube, so this is all stuff I've learnt over the last month or two. It's things that may help people out. I hope it does anyway. These are all just personal observations from the short time I've been on YouTube. So let's get down to it. I'll break down what you need to know, what you need to have, what you need to do, and how to do it. So let's get going. Why do you want to do it? For me, I wanted to get back into it because I used to do it back in the day and I used to really quite enjoy it. Of recent times I've had no footage really to do it on, besides things like family weddings and christenings and things like that. So I've kind of missed out. I wanted to get back into Premiere, get my Premiere skills back up to date. So I thought I'd start the vlog. It was a good reason for doing it because we were going abroad to surprise Anna's sister for her 40th. So I thought, well, why not? Crack on. I basically got to the point in my life where I need to learn some new skills. The skills I have for my day job are quite good. I'm not really learning hand over fist like I used to back in my 20s. Back in my 20s I used to get involved in everything and know everything about a lot. But I just don't have the time, effort or ability to retain that sort of information anymore. So I want to get into something that I can perhaps do for the next 20 years of my life, and this is it. The vlog basically gives me footage regularly to edit on and play with and get Premiere skills up, so that's why I do the vlog. It's not really narcissistic in any way. I don't really care that people watch me on YouTube, but it gives me some footage to edit, which is all good. The footage from the vlog obviously gives me editing. It also has other benefits as well. So it gets me out of the house, it gets me seeing parts of the country I haven't seen before, hopefully parts of the world I haven't seen before, and it's a hobby that I can take into my retirement, hopefully. I want to do a lot more travelling. I've travelled a fair bit, but I've never documented any of it. I used to travel quite a lot for work, but I never used to see the world. So this will give me a bit more ability to see a bit more of the country and other countries, hopefully. For you yourself, you have to look into why you want to do YouTube videos. Do you have something you're interested and passionate about that you want to share with other people? If you do, perfect. If you don't, and you just want to shoot stuff that interests you around and hope that interests other people, perfect. If you haven't got a reason for being on the platform, then you're not really going to succeed. Good luck to you if you just want to have a play, fiddle and whatnot, that's great. But you're not really going to succeed at anything, I don't think. Not that I've succeeded in anything at all anyway, but I enjoy myself, and that's all that matters. So as long as you enjoy yourself and do like what you're doing, crack on. So then, what do you need? Well, first things first, you need a camera, something that'll shoot 1080p in a decent way. Quite happily use your mobile phone. Mobile phones nowadays, Apple and Android phones, are well and beyond anything that they used to be at. The video on them is perfectly good, and usually better than cameras in the cheap range of the price range. Just make sure it shoots 1080p. Don't worry about 4K. 4K is for people who have a lot more money, a lot more experience, and a lot more powerful hardware to edit it on. I'll get to that in a minute. If you already have a camera and you already have lenses, this is just going to be easier for you. It's just that simple, because you already know your way around the camera, you know how to use it, you know, even if it's just for photography, you know the basics of setting your colours right and getting the lighting right, and you know what apertures are, and you know what f-stops are, and everything else that goes with it. So they all come across to videography in slightly different ways, but that's basically the starting point for most of this sort of stuff. Next things you're going to probably need are things like tripods. Tripods don't have to be expensive, and they also don't have to be tripods. If you're shooting in a situation like this where you sat down and it's a camera, framed person, framed background, then you quite easily use a stack of books. Just put it on a stack of books. As long as it's not moving around, it's a tripod. You could put it on a cabinet, like on the top of a cabinet, frame it up, put it on top of the cabinet, perfectly fine. It'll hold still, won't move around, won't make any noise, work perfectly. Anything that'll hold the camera still, it will work as a tripod. It's just that simple. If you're out running and gunning, so doing vlogs or doing moving stuff, so you're out in the outside world, in trees, shooting whatever you're shooting out and about, then you are going to probably need a proper tripod. What I'd recommend is probably going for something like the Joby Gorilla Pods. They're great, they can bend, wrap around stuff and lock onto things, and you can get them into all sorts of strange and wonderful positions to hold the cameras, and they're perfect for that sort of stuff. They're not, the actual proper Joby ones aren't cheap, but they've got really good heads, and they've got pretty good legs. They do break after a while because they're plastic at the end of the day, but they're not, the bigger ones aren't cheap, well the little ones aren't cheap either, to be fair, but they are the best that are around that I've tried. There are other brands that make the same sort of things, octopods and stuff like that. They all work great. Just find one that you like and use that. It's simple as that. The other things, if you're out shooting in any sort of kind of outside world, professional way, anything like that, then a proper tripod will do you a world of good. Or this one's a monopod but it's got feet on it. Or like the camera's on at the minute, a proper tripod. It just makes life so much easier to get shots. And it less likely to fall over and things like that. At the end of the day, if you've got an expensive camera or an expensive phone on top of it, you don't really want it to fall over onto concrete, do you? It's just going to hurt. Next up, a microphone. So microphones are great if you're doing any sort of talking to the camera. This was a fairly cheap Takstar one. I bought it on Amazon for about 20 quid. And if you look on YouTube, just do a search for Takstar microphone reviews. Everyone loves them. The problem with this one is, for my camera, it's just too big, too cumbersome and in the way. So I've got a little Rode micro one. But that works great. That works great. If your camera supports having a microphone, get one. Problem is, a lot of cameras, even stuff like this one, this is a fairly expensive PowerShot, Canon PowerShot camera. It's not brand new, it's fairly old, but no microphone port on it anywhere. It's got HDMI out and all sorts of stuff, but no microphone port, which makes it kind of bad in any sort of windy conditions. Like this, it'd probably be fine, but in windy conditions, it's just going to pick up the wind all over the place and stuff. So it's probably not great for that sort of thing. You can get microphones for your phone. They plug into the headphone jack usually, or the USB-C, or the Apple equivalent to USB-C, whatever that's called nowadays. Lightning, is it? And get one of them. It'll work. Even if it's a lapel mic with a cable, just run it to yourself and clip it on. Do it like that. It works. Right, there's other things you're probably going to need. In filming video, there's a rule of 180, they call it, and it's basically for every frame per second you're shooting the video at, so like this one I'm shooting on 25 frames per second, then your shutter speed should be double that. So your shutter speed should be 50 in this occurrence, because I'm shooting at 25 frames per second. So if you're shooting at 24, 25 frames a second, you should have your shutter speed at 50. If you're shooting at 50 frames a second, you should be at 100, 120 frames a second, 240, etc. Basically, this gives you the motion blur that we're all completely used to seeing on video. Whenever you watch any TV, whenever you watch any movies, you'll see a motion blur. That's why when you pause a Blu-ray or a DVD or whatever, there's always a slight bit of blurriness in the picture. It's because there's motion blur built in, because without it everything just looks too sharp, and the human eye is just not used to seeing everything really sharp. So for this, on video and photography actually, we use ND filters. This is an adjustable ND filter, so you can adjust it between about an ND4 up to about an ND30, which means that shooting in dark and light conditions is quite easy. In very dark conditions, you take it off obviously, but in really bright conditions you can turn the filter up quite high and block out as much light as you can to get you down to that shutter speed. Other things that you might need are batteries. Without a shadow of a doubt, the worst thing to happen is to have a shot lined up, shot ready, and to run out of charge. So whatever camera you shoot, whatever system you shoot, whether it's with your iPhone, with your Android phone, with a Canon EOS, with PowerShot, make sure you have a spare battery for it. Or in terms of the phones, one of those USB battery chargers. Just make life a lot easier, and you won't feel bad when you miss a shot because you've run out of battery. It's a nightmare. If you're shooting on a lens system camera, so Canon EOS or Nikon or Sony or whatever, something that has a lens that is interchangeable, then having different lenses for the different conditions is useful. I mean, you can have stuff like that. That's quite a big old lens. I mean, I don't think you'll be using a 72-10 for an awful lot, but it comes in handy if you want to shoot stuff at a distance. This one we've got on here is an 11-22, which is why you get really wide angle. I'll show you. Really wide angle, and you can go quite tight. It's quite useful for vlogging and stuff like that, this lens is, because you can have it quite close to you with a wide angle lens and still get everything in frame. Hello Milo. Right, then, to store all of that stuff, a bag. You need some form of bag that you can put stuff in, whether it's a backpack, like that, which is quite big and bulky, or whether it's a little hip bag like that, or what I normally carry around day to day is a bag like that with all my stuff in it, but the middle pouch is set up and it has things like my batteries in it and my lenses in it, things like that. You always want something like that around that you can just pop into, grab whatever you need at a moment's notice and crank it on and start using it. Not having the equipment you need to get the shot you want is possibly the worst feeling, short of the battery dying. And then after you've got all your footage, after you've shot everything, after you've got it all back home onto your computer, you've pulled out the SD card from your camera system or plugged in the USB cable that you need to grab the software off and copied it onto your laptop or your PC or your MacBook or your Mac, whatever you're using to edit. How do you edit? Well, that's very personal. I use Premiere. Like I've said before, I wanted to learn get my Premiere skills back up to date. But there's plenty of other software around. If you're on a Mac, a big used one is Final Cut Pro from Apple. That's very popular in the vlogosphere. Then you got DaVinci Resolve, which is completely free and works on Mac, Linux and PC. But whatever you use, invest time in learning how to use it. That's why I'm doing these videos, is so I can learn how to use that sort of stuff and get better at it. But if you don't invest any time in it and you don't know how to use it, it just won't look good. It's just that simple. Learn how to use the software. There's plenty of YouTube videos that will explain how to use all three of those products, and learn how to color grade. Color grading is one of the key things, especially if you're shooting multi-camera. So if you're using one camera for close frame shots, you're shooting with another camera, wherever I put it, another camera, even if it's using the same color science, so this is Canon, that's Canon, so they use the same color science technology to get colors, but they won't shoot the same color because the lenses are different, the CMOSs are different, the process is different. So learn how to color grade. It comes into even more importance when you shoot with things like a drone. So I've got the Mavic Air, as you've perhaps seen on the channel. Shooting with the Mavic Air is a completely different beast, with completely different colours, completely different camera system, different CMOS, different colour system, different colour science inside the camera. So being able to get those bits of footage to kind of line up as close as possible in how they look and feel is what you're aiming for here, and that's one of the big things I'm still learning. You'll see in some of my footage it looks garbage, and it's because I haven't got it colour graded properly, but the only way to learn is to do. And the more you do, the better you'll get at it. So all I can say to you is get your best camera that you've got out, find something interesting to shoot, go out, shoot it, come back, edit it, and keep doing that until you get really good at it. It's just that simple. So thanks again for watching. I hope this has been interesting to some people. If it hasn't, that's fine. If it has, fantastic. If you've liked it, why not subscribe, click the like button, and share any tips you've got in the comments. We can only get better by helping each other. Simple as that. Have a good day. Enjoy all.